These days, reality is a bummer. Everyone's looking for a way to escape. And that's why he was such a hero to us. He showed us that we could go somewhere without going anywhere at all. You don't need a destination when you're running on an omnidirectional treadmill with quadraphonic pressure-sensitive underlay. James Halliday saw the future, and then he built it. He gave us a place to go. A place called the OASIS.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
You see G's eyes, they love to look back at you.
It's like kids with those rotary phones.
The fact that you can text the creator of Chucky.
Yeah, I actually have that little Tinkle.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good. And I have nothing to do because I had no idea what to do with this movie. I was so blown away by all the visuals. I was like, I can't stick to one thing. I've just got to just go with it.
That's fine.
It's just me tonight. Greater good.
All right, I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Okay.
Because if you have to step up the game every week, eventually it's just going to be a letdown. So we're just going to reset and go strong next week.
It's a palate
I'm going to fall
cleanse.
flat this time around so that I can soar later on.
Sometimes you just have to have the sorbet and cleanse the palate before you dive back into something a little more tasty.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Just
and Sam is quite tasty.
Thank you, Andrew.
I'm laughing not just because of what you're saying, but because the internet tonight has just been garbage. Andrew is going to sound a little drunk, so I don't know what to do about that, but we're just going to lean into it.
That's different. How?
Well, this time I don't think you actually are drunk. This is episode 348, and tonight we're talking about Ready Player One. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew, the best CGIs we've ever seen, Jimison.
Well, I've gotten that compliment before that people really like my eyes, but you see G's eyes, they love to look back at you. And
you see G's eyes?
I really appreciate you saying they're the best eyes you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But, that means a lot. This is coming from you, especially. It means a lot.
Oh, well, we've known each other a long time. It's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sam, I really loved seeing the Iron Giant, Vector.
Yeah, I knew you would. And I was so desperately trying to find a good Iron Giant sitting in a chair so that I could put it in our cheap seat chair, but I just ran out of search.
Well, there's a couple of moments of him sitting down in the movie, the Iron Giant movie, but it wouldn't quite
like he would. Yeah, his legs are outstretched in front of him. They're not like hanging down.
Yeah.
So it would be like a tiny Iron Giant sitting in the chair, and I don't think that's quite right.
It would be kind of funny to see. Oh yeah. How?
Yeah, I've got this holy hand grenade. Will you hold this here and count to 3 for me?
Sure. I'm glad it wasn't Chucky. That's all I'm saying. And making their Cheapseat Reviews debut is Leslie, 0G Dancing, and Chris, the best music in the movie was from a different movie, Lott.
You know what just popped in my head? Tiny Dancer.
Yeah.
By Elton John when you said that.
Wait, I'm sorry. You mean Tony Danza. That song's about Tony Danza.
That's right. I need to hold Tony Danza closer.
Yeah. That's one of the songs that's on my list of misheard lyrics. I have like a whole list of songs that I don't understand that like wrapped up like a douche. I 100% am pretty confident.
I can still sing it that way, you know. After all these years, I still sing it that way.
It's Tiny Hammer, not Tony Danza. Come on.
Oh, yes. I have to show y'all one day Chris's rendition of Tiny Hammer. He found my Tiny Hammer one day while he was cleaning, and he held it up like this, and he starts singing, "Oh, closer, tiny hammer. And I have him on tape. I'm not going to find it and send it to
Great.
you.
Now it's going to be going all over the internet thanks to this right here.
Nice. I just love the fact that she has it on tape. How long ago was this?
Oh, yeah.
That's old school vernacular. Have it on my cell phone.
He has it on our mobile phone.
Yeah,
My mobile
it's
phone.
the mobiles.
She got
Yeah.
the old RCA out and like that.
This is great. It is funny seeing, like, hearing you say put it on tape. It's one of those vernaculars, like when you talk about like athletes will say we're going to go and watch film. Like, you just say film because that's what your coaches use, but you don't know what film is. Like if I showed, you know what I'm saying? Like if I went and showed Trevor Lawrence a film camera, he wouldn't know what to do with it.
You probably wouldn't know how to load the project part in order to watch the film.
No, and I've actually managed a theater that had a film projector, and I barely know how to do the thing. So,
It's like kids with those rotary phones. You know, they have no idea what to do.
Yeah, or
like, how do I use this?
Or that famous.
Has anybody seen like the video of the kids trying to call 911 on the rotary phone?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They keep trying to press it, right? Just what? Yeah.
Yeah, they're steadily pressing it, and I'm screaming into the phone, going, "No, you rotate it." Nobody can understand.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so this is 2018's Ready Player One. So Chris and Leslie join us from the Measuring the Score podcast, where I saw you on Twitter a few weeks, or I guess it's more than a few months ago, and I was like, hey, I like film scores. Let's check them out. I listened to your first few episodes. It's really good. So definitely go check them out at Measuring the Score, or I guess
absolutely
at Measuring the Score.
Many people don't know this, but I first went to college to do music composition. I was dual major psychology and music comp, but realized I didn't want to sit at the piano all day. So I shied away from the music side of things.
It's a very interesting combination.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, most musicians are crazy. So that's
well, yeah, we are definitely.
I'm not that crazy. I'm just nerdy. There's a difference. Nerdy.
Well,
not
yeah,
crazy.
And you got, I mean, literally, this is the most musically inclined, I think, episode we've probably had in a while. Because Andrew is a band director. Sam and I both played baritone or euphonium, whichever you will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And,
euphonium.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Chris
I married
played
a
the
band
trombone.
director. So yeah.
Oh wow.
I play the flute, the oboe, and the saxophone
Oh.
I play the keyboard mouse.
on a good day. He plays the clicker.
I play the computer mouse.
The MIDI controller. Yeah.
Yep. I play the computer mouse and the MIDI controller, so we're good.
That's okay. My my aunt can play the radio, so there you go.
Oh, that's special talent there. It's the
Anyway,
old school.
yeah, and also my dad was a band director, and my mom was also a music major as well. So it's in the family. My wife also played flute in the marching band. That's where we met. So it's all coming back to something. I don't know, but what it is not
coming back to me now.
is Ready Player One. 2018's Ready Player One, the movie that is based on the book by Ernest Cline, the movie directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Zach Penn, which is kind of cool because his last name is Penn. I mean, that's just kind of neat.
2 ends or one?
Do what?
2 ends or one?
Two ends. P-N-N.
Like Sean Penn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
Like,
if there's any relation there.
yeah, Chris, you need to change your last name to like Note or
Chris Note.
Chris Note. That's actually kind of a neat name. I like that. You should change it. I'm just saying. It would maybe. I mean, this guy got to write. I mean, that is kind of weird that you're writing a movie that's based on a book. I mean, are you just like taking? I don't know.
Well, he's writing a movie based on a book that's based on a decade.
And plus more, right? You know, and not just a decade, but like video games and the ideas and stories of video game culture using video game language.
So it's copyright infringement on top of copyright infringement and top of copyright.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
reading about every single little thing that they had get approved was I could not imagine. I would be crazy by the end of this.
I don't know. I didn't read any of the trivia, but I can guarantee that Spielberg was probably the only director that could take something like this and make all those references happen. Because he's got the name recognition out there to basically say, "Hey, I'm Spielberg. Can I use your thing in my movie?" Now. And they're happy.
I'm Spielberg. Right? Make it happen.
Yeah. Well, he does have a wheelbarrow that follows him, in front of him everywhere he goes.
That is true.
For his balls, in case you didn't understand.
Thanks.
And with a slowed down tone, it just makes it even funnier.
Oh, it's
Lord.
Sounds downright dirty.
Yeah, when it takes a full second and a half for you just to say the word balls, it's pretty great.
Perfect.
Yeah, this you're I don't know if you actually read all the trivia. I couldn't. I didn't have enough time. This movie has as much trivia as a Star Wars movie. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I got bored halfway through the trivia.
I mean, it's just so much. It is a lot. I do think I would actually challenge your whoever made the assessment that only Spielberg could do this kind of thing with the whatever. I think there are other directors that could have pulled this thing off with. Ooh, I'm hearing myself. That's fun. With the like the brand recognition and all that stuff. Like I think a Jon Favreau could do it. I think an Edgar Wright.
Abrams.
Yeah, I was about to say Abrams.
Abrams could probably do it. Yeah, or Edgar Wright, who did Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. Because, Scott Pilgrim had a lot of that in there. It had the music from Zelda, had, Street Fighter sounds in there. So, yeah, Wright could probably pull it off.
Yeah.
But you have to, in this one, you had Warner Brothers. You had, you had multiple movie studios that would have to agree to release the images on this movie. I think Spielberg, because he put his name on something and it's $1 billion idea.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
So I just don't think Favreau is that there quite yet, or even Abrams or
I don't know what's happening.
Or
let's just
a Cameron. I don't think
Cameron's the one you get right.
I just think Spielberg is the top of the heap, and everybody's underneath him in terms of prestige.
I don't know if I would have wanted James Cameron on this one. Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
Spielberg said that this was the third most difficult movie that he had made in his career. Yep. And that's followed by Jaws and Saving Private Ryan.
That's right.
And I can see that with all of those references you just talked about.
Well, that's why he was tired, because he had to go through all those references by hand, probably.
And I don't think he's this used to so much CGI. I know he did Tintin and some of that stuff, but in terms of realistic CGI, this is different. This is a whole different ballgame.
And this is the most he's done. It is listed at like 1,500 CGI shots or frames or something. I can't remember how it's worded, but it's the most that he's done. I know Tintin is completely animated, but that's also, there's a little bit of motion capture there. But
yeah, right.
That's all. That whole world. Whereas in this, you got a kind of a mixture of both, and it needs to look more realistic and to a point. So, yeah, no. Again, don't get me wrong. I don't think Spielberg did a bad job on this movie, and we're definitely going to jump into it. I just don't think he's the only guy that could have done it. And as far as getting all of the other properties involved, I don't know how much that's him or if that's the studio, or it almost kind of feels like the studio was like, hey, let us know what we can have. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm trying to think. I honestly, so Warner Brothers produced this, but like this, just seeing Serenity flying there. Serenity is universal, right? So hey, can we get the Serenity ship? It's in the book. I'm like, yeah, we're not doing anything with it. Sure, go ahead. You know what I'm saying?
You've got, you've got Microsoft properties.
Yeah,
you had Minecraft. You had
the fact that The fact that this is a Warner Brothers movie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
I was going to say, I saw the little alien from the Looney Tunes running around at some point.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian. Yeah, but that's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
That's part of the Warner Brothers project. I'm surprised we didn't get more DC comic stuff. Like, we get the one line about Batman, and we see
Batman at least twice.
We see Batman twice. We see the Batmobile, and we see Harley Quinn, and that's it. I thought...
Oh, there's Catwoman in there, and there's Batgirl.
Is there? I don't remember seeing them. Okay.
Yeah.
See, there's so much that you have to look for. I mean, it's like every time you watch the movie, there's something new you see.
Yeah, Chris and I were talking about that because, we've seen the movie several times. And when we watched it this time to prepare for this podcast, we're like, I didn't pay attention to that before. There's something different. Every time we watch it, there's something different.
Yeah.
Like some have ever watched it in the theater. You saw Sonic, toward the end running through there. So that's a Sega property right there.
Yeah.
Battletoads.
Yeah, Battletoads I remember seeing. And it was interesting because there's properties in there that are so kind of old school and frankly obscure. It was kind of fun to see. It's like, oh, Battletoads. How many people played that game? I don't know, but enough that they put it in there for people like me to go, hey, that's Battletoads.
Yeah, and I think that, in that instance, it was geared towards an older audience because, we would get those references, unlike some of the youth of today. They're like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand these. Yeah. But we picked up on those references. We lived that. We played those games or we watched those movies.
Like
and
having Mad Balls in there as the thing toward the end, when it blows up. Yeah, as a grenade. Yeah. That was.
Yeah. My brother had one of those.
I think I probably did too, honestly. But I mean, this movie was not meant for my son. This movie was meant for us. This was literally.
Well, I almost had my daughters watch it with me, and I'm glad I didn't. I hadn't seen it in a while, and it's a little more violent and a little bit more cussy. Than,
they say shit a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, so. In case we're, 20 minutes into this and you don't know what this movie is, Andrew has been waiting patiently to read the things that he needs to read.
When the creator of a virtual reality called OASIS dies, he makes a posthumous challenge, to all OASIS users to find his Easter egg, which will give the finder his fortune and control of his world. Sorry, it's not every day I see the word posthumous.
Nice.
That's a weird, I don't know, the way you read it, and I'm not blaming you, it's just a weird sentence. When the creator of a virtual reality called the OASIS dies. Like, it makes it sound like it's called OASIS Dies.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
That would be a very different kind of
commas
movie.
there.
Yeah. That would be a very different kind of movie right there. OASIS dies.
It does feel like, because there's it's a horror. Yeah. You're not wrong. It feels like when called the OASIS dies, he makes a whatever Andrew said challenge for all the OASIS users. Posthumous. It is a weird word. Posthumous. Anyway, Sam, you go first on the 5-word review. So why don't you go ahead and lay it on us?
Sure, I've got two. The first one here is kind of a description of what I saw, and it's basically shotgun approach to chaotic nostalgia.
All right.
So and my kind of review of this movie. Let me just say this: the first time I saw it in the theater, I loved this thing. I didn't love it as much as some, only because I'm just enthralled by the book, and I think the book does a better job. But this time around, I was a little bit disappointed, and basically, my review is ADHD action with no heart.
Okay.
I think there was so much time spent on jamming as many visuals and as many references that they didn't build these characters well. I think, and I hate to compare it to the book, but the book does a much better job at establishing Wade as a person and what he has to do to get these things. And I think the movie takes shortcuts by using so much spectacle that you never really care about these characters. And
you think it works so well in the book because there's no visual?
I think so. And it's in your head. And you got to remember, a lot of the stuff in the book is not so flash bang. There's no race. It's it's more of a D&D adventure, and there's clues hidden in certain music and things like that. It wouldn't have made a good movie if they used some of the ways he found the keys in the book. But I mean, honestly, all of us have played video games, and I don't know if Spielberg has. I think he kind of missed that a little bit in terms of what we look for in video games, because think about the first clue in the first race, and how he found the key in the first race. It couldn't have gone that long without somebody thinking to go in reverse or to go backwards. Within a week, somebody would have done that in the real world to figure out how to get past the King Kong or whatever. So it's just, I think everybody was so excited on this movie to show what they could show that they forgot to tell a good story.
Yeah,
so that's me.
I guess I should ask: had we all seen this before? I know, Kristen. You literally just said that you had. Andrew, had you seen this before? This viewing?
This viewing makes my 8th time watching it.
So,
wow.
So you've seen it before, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay,
just a couple, not that many though, right? I mean, just a couple times.
Not that many.
Okay.
No, I will say it does have a rewatchability. I enjoyed watching it again, only to try to catch some more references and things like that. I would have liked to have seen a better told story on here, especially coming from Mr. Spielberg.
And Andrew, you hadn't read the book. Chris and Leslie, had either one of you read the book?
I did not read the book, but I did listen to the audio book. So I guess that counts.
It does count. Yeah, listen to Will Wheaton. That's what I did.
Yeah. And it was very funny because there's a line in the book where he's talking about that the internet is still being run by Will Wheaton, and he's like, "Oh, those old geezers," and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of funny right there."
Yeah,
about himself. Good job, Wesley.
Yeah, he's the vice president of the OASIS. Like they have their own kind of form of government within the OASIS, and he's the vice president or something, which is pretty great.
Yeah. And can I add one more thing to my review?
Yeah.
And I think as cool as it was to see The Shining and reference to The Shining, I thought it didn't fit. And if there was anything that I couldn't show the girls, I think The Shining fell short of what kind of the book and the idea was of 80s references and pop culture.
It's interesting.
Yeah, in the book, it was completely different. Like the first key was like I can't remember the game, and then the second task was he had to go into a different game. I can't remember which one it was.
The first one was a text game. Right?
No, the first one was. First of all, here's the annoying thing about the movie. Sorry, I'm jumping all over it, but we'll get there. Is that the premise of the game was that anyone could do it, right? That was what Halliday wanted, was that anyone can do it, and the race goes against the idea simply for the fact that the guy, that our hero has to like hang back and just collect coins because he can't afford gas in his fake car, right? So in the book, it's literally on the planet for school, right? They use the OASIS to go to school. That's important to remember later on. So it's there. So that means that literally anyone, because there's a charge to go from planet to planet. There's a cost. But to go to school planet is free. So anyone could participate. And then eventually he finds the cave by doing some studying some stuff, and he has to play Joust, which was one of Halliday's favorite games. And he's able to beat the computer or the wizard by playing the other character. He switches sides and gets the advantage. And then he sneaks a hint to Artemis about that. So you're right, Sam. That doesn't make for a great movie, but I feel like there's another way that Spielberg could have portrayed the opening thing, because it needs to be flashy. I understand it needs to be exciting, but literally the movie tells you up front, I can't afford this. It goes completely against the thing. So that my biggest issue was the race, even though it's pretty and cool. And the T-Rex from Jurassic Park is in it, so there's
absolutely
also a very cool moment. But honestly, the Shining part was one of the parts that I liked, because this part of The Shining is better than the movie. I thought this Shining was way scarier than the actual Shining. So
yeah,
because I don't really remember a giant axe, and naked old lady with a giant axe.
My God, that would have been terrifying. Yeah.
There was a naked old lady. I remember that.
Yeah. The
she
naked
was in there, but not with a giant axe.
That was scarring.
Yeah. Wow. All right, Andrew, what you got?
Well, I have two. My first one is badass version of Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can see that.
And the second one is outstanding, nostalgic, and fun adventure.
Sure.
So, I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of like this movie. I've seen it 8 times, as I've said. It's not often that a movie works its way into my top 10 list, but this one is there.
Oh, cool.
And I know we haven't really talked about our top 10 list in a very long time, and how those might have changed since we've seen all these new films, but this one certainly has made its way up there. I don't know where I would put it exactly, but I love this movie. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I haven't seen or read the book, but everything about this I like. I love the fact that they cram all this junk in there. And it is, every time I watch it, still, I find new things to get excited about. This time, it was the Toads, right? I think the first time in this battle scene, the Battletoads, I think the first time I watched that scene, I was looking at some Ninja Turtles, or I was looking at something else that was in there, and I was distracted and didn't see them. And so I don't know why it's taking me this long, but just, you have to be a creative person to come up with all these different things and how to use them. I thought the use of Chucky was hilarious and really well done as a weapon, and funny,
Yeah.
And The Shining, to me, that Shining section, like you said, it is better than the actual movie. And I love the fact that we can take this icon of a movie and we can take a piece of it and put it in something else and make it even better. So this movie hits all the right buttons for me, and I think the story's fine. I cared about the characters, not to disagree with you, Sam, but
no, that's fine.
I thought that the relationship part of it was fine. I didn't think it was too much as far as a love story goes, and I didn't think it was overwhelming. But I dig it. I dig every bit of it.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. That's cool. Hey, honestly, I'm kind of glad to hear that this has creeped into your top 10. It kind of feels like a movie, knowing what your number one favorite is. This kind of feels like something that would live in your top 10. So that totally makes sense. I love the Chucky part. I think the Chucky part's hysterical. The only part that annoys me is we're shown in the real world, and H says, "Hey, take this," and she throws it like she's standing next to him, because we forget. I guess the director doesn't want us to remember that she's the Iron Giant. And like, she wouldn't throw a Chucky doll at him like that, but maybe
it would be more like a toss.
Yeah, and because literally the camera shows the Iron Giant is using its eye laser, which it doesn't have, but that's not the point.
Eye laser beam.
Yeah, and it's blowing up an IOI tank, and then the DeLorean is every bit of 400 or 500 feet away. And then they're running out of weapons.
The DeLorean fighter.
Yeah. Combo.
and they're running out of ammunition, and then that's when they get the Chucky doll. So again, it's just a dumb little thing, but it's still hysterical. It made me laugh.
Fun fact: I talked to Don Mancini, the creator of Chucky, about right after that scene happened. I sent him a message, and I was like, I said, of course, that was like one of the funniest bits in the whole movie. He said, that was my favorite part. And I'm like, of course it is your favorite part.
Let's not walk too far away from the fact that you just name dropped the fact that you can text the creator of Chucky.
Yes. Yeah. I've talked to Don a couple times.
That's pretty awesome. That's awesome. I'm Facebook friends with a couple of actors who won't return my messages. So, that's pretty cool, too.
Does that make you a friend or a stalker?
Well, I guess in fairness, I've met them, so I'll pretend to be at least a friend. But the fact that
you run into them, Sean?
I'm not friends with Ashley Judd, but I have.
Okay.
That's the joke Sam loves to bring up. I have physically. I didn't assault her, but I did bump into her at that event. Yeah, she's a tiny little person. She's tiny.
Didn't she just hurt her leg really bad?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of me.
Yeah, she broke her leg in Africa and had to travel like hours.
Yeah, they
before
carried
she could
her
get,
out
or
of the jungle,
days even
basically.
before she could get attention to it.
Jeez.
Yeah, that wasn't
What did you do?
that wasn't me. That wasn't because of me.
He followed her to Africa.
Yeah.
An elephant that he
Right.
that he sponsored.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Actor.
Do you guys have a 5-word review?
I could give you 2 words.
Oh. I'm a little nervous.
Uh-oh.
Do I need to get the
My first word is drum roll, please. Eye candy.
Oh,
This is
okay.
eye
Yeah.
candy for us older people.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How do I want to say the second point here? I'm trying to think of a concise way. Ocular overload.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because there's so much stuff going on. You just can't catch on to it right away. And as Andrew said, he watched the movie several times and he's still seeing new things. We've watched it several times and we're seeing new things. It's just so much for the eyes to comprehend what's going on. You get distracted of what's going over here, what's going over there. So in some parts it's hard to pay attention. It's like ADD on cocaine or something, speed or stimulant.
Oh man, can you imagine that ADD on cocaine? Oh wow, that's this movie.
It's just, it's all over the place.
All right, so I got a 5-word. I got
All right.
80s nostalgia takes over movie,
Yeah.
Sure.
and it really does.
Yeah.
And I'm right there with Andrew. This is definitely right there in my top 10. This movie is one of my go-to movies. I picked this for crying out loud, and it's one of those movies that if I've got nothing else to watch, imagine that, in this day of age where we got tons of streaming services where you can watch everything. If I can't find anything to watch, I'll put Ready Player One on because it's just every time there's something new, something fun. But there is a point where, like Sam mentioned, where you don't really feel for the characters. But upon first viewing, I did, but now it's just it got lost over time.
And in my opinion, it's not just the feel for the characters. There's like a really flat character development. You don't see much character development out of any of the characters, and I feel like there is like a subliminal message that people need to get off of their cell phones and experience the real world sort of thing. So, I walked away from the first time thinking that because, at the end of the movie where they cut the OASIS down for a day for them to, experience the real world. And I felt like that was kind of like a little ping of what's going on today in today's society where people are paying, more attention to their electronics than going out and smelling the flowers, going for a walk.
We're doing a podcast through a laptop right now.
Yeah. As we talk through Skype, But That's how I felt. That that was kind of hidden in there, like a hidden agenda sort of thing.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's hidden. I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, literally at the end of the movie, he says, "We shut it down on Tuesdays and Thursdays," and I'm in the theater going, "You can't turn off the internet for 2 days." Like, the world economy would shut down for 2 days. I understand. The movie portrays it as just a game, that it's just a place to have a game. But, in the book, it's commerce. It's learning. It's everything. I mean, it's the OASIS has replaced the internet as the way to to globally communicate.
I think that might be why I enjoy it as much as I do. I haven't read the book, so I don't have this, I don't have that to relate this to or compare it to. And so I'm viewing the movie for what it is. And so I don't see that side of it like you guys do.
Yeah, because to you, it's like playing World of Warcraft, right? If Blizzard said, there are too many people playing World of Warcraft, which they would never say. But if they said that, then they say, we're going to shut it down on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It wouldn't end the world, economy. It would be it would be fine. The world would be fine. But it just, even in the stakes of the movie, where people are willing to kill for the opportunity to get the egg. It feels like it's such a powerful tool and mechanism that it seems a little weird that he can turn it off 2 days a week. But anyway, it's a throwaway line. I just turn the movie off before he gets that line. I'm fine.
Yeah. I do the same thing. After he's got the egg, I just okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
It should have ended the movie right here.
Once his gloves start glowing. For some reason, IOI decided to put light emitters in his hands. I know that's pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
Reminds me that the Nintendo Power Glove is so rad.
Yeah, it's so
rad. They should have put the Power Glove in there.
Yeah. That should have been his gloves, the Power Gloves.
Yeah.
I did wonder this time as I watched this, and he was talking about his suit having the sensitive crotch or whatever that was, and it kind of made me chuckle. But I got to thinking, there's nothing other than the visor, over your eyes. There's nothing on your face. So all these sensations that we experience as humans, our lips and our cheeks, and there's nothing touching your neck, any of that in this.
That's that's the one thing that the movie I think did kind of right, is that thing that he puts around his neck and that scans his face at the beginning. That's showing how to project his face in the game. So like when he's talking to Nolan Sorrento, he says, "Oh, I see you're using emotion suppression software." That's a direct line from the movie because or from the book. Thank you, Sam. Because what the movie does portray in that moment is correct. In that he is kind of flipping out at what's happening, but he doesn't want to show it because the device can do that. The only part about the tech, honestly, that annoyed me was that it made everyone seem like you had to physically interact with your personal environment. You got the kid that's like jumping over the couch and like if that was if that was real, people would be like walking into traffic and falling out of the stacks and stuff. There's a. Again, in the book,
you've seen the videos of people like running into walls and falling over in real life, right?
Yeah, I know. Yes, but
with the Oculus devices,
right? But the problem is that they don't have to, right? They're not having to do that. They don't have to walk around their space in their living room to experience that. You put on the visor, and you can use glove controls and just sit there. You don't have to have the suit thing that he describes in the intro, where he can run omnidirectional run and stuff like that. Like that's not required in the game, but it certainly does look funny in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it was a plot hole in the movie too, because they kind of alluded to the fact that you had to do that, but there were pieces in the movie where you saw people just standing on the sidewalk, not moving at all. In in the Oasis, and they're like, this is a huge plot hole. So you've got where you have to actually interact with your environment in order to interact in the Oasis, and then they cut to a scene with people just standing there. They're like, this doesn't make any sense. There's been some critiques on that.
Or like Sorrento's rig. Sorrento sat down in a chair. I mean, how did that work?
He had control.
Yep.
I mean, that wasn't never explained. They never show how Sorrento was sitting in his rig, or like the little whatever ball controls looked like a hamster ball. I mean, yeah, she said it was like a hamster ball. It was like
Darth Vader's ball that had Darth Vader in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, it's like, how does that work?
And why? I don't get the password bit. I know, like, I understand why they put it in the movie, but it's
Boss man,
yeah.
It
my wife
reminded me
eye
of just
rolled
an
so
old person
loud.
using technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I just
What got me was the fact that they were showing VHS tapes. Now, this was supposed to be
Yeah, for the
65
library.
years into the future, even further from VHS. Like, so who in their right mind has a VCR? Because I don't see VCRs hardly anymore, or beta. And we're still not that far into the future from the last use of VCR. So now they're showing this technology that's obsolete that they're, utilizing in the Oasis. And I'm like, this makes no sense. Because in 65 years, we can ask the kids about our technology, and they're not going to know anything about, internet noise, for example, or any of our technology that we use at the time.
Oh, good old dial-up.
did they?
Gotta love it.
But the
The dial-up
VHS
phone,
that
yeah.
was just part of the movie, though. That was inside the Oasis, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it still made no sense to me.
It makes sense in
Yeah.
the context of the game because these guys, these Gunters are studying a dude who lived in the 80s and whatever. I kind of forgive that because he's playing an Atari, right? I mean,
Right.
And I actually, like one of the big changes that doesn't bother me at all is how he gets the extra life. Like he has to find a way to get the extra life. And the way he does it in the movie, frankly, is more visually appealing than watching him play Pac-Man, which is how he gets it in the book.
You had to keep playing Pac-Man over and over. I think he had to beat level 256, right?
Yeah, he had to
be
go.
able to-
He had to go so far into it that he had to beat the broken
Right.
levels.
Yeah,
I
I thought that was very clever.
did too. I liked it, and I also like the fact that Simon Pegg is the voice of the thing.
Right.
The fellow that looks like Jeeves from Axe
Yeah,
Jeeves.
it's Ash Chiefs. I mean, you're not wrong. He's basically a nicer version of Clippy. Let me do my 5-word real quick before we go much farther. My 5-word was background stuff distracted me. Winnebago.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I noticed it this time. I was like, "Hey, that's the Winnebago from Spaceballs," and that's the
Yes.
that's the ship from the Cowboy Bebop, and that's the I was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And of course, in the theater, I giggled. I was so happy when they showed the Serenity. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this Serenity! It looks so great." And that one has guns on it, but that's okay. They would have to have guns, but that's fine. I thought Serenity looked so awesome. So a couple of things also just in some of my notes as I'm going to go down to is I love the Star Trek funeral at the beginning is in his video. I think that's
And, I didn't pay attention to the full extent of that. So, the first time I watched a movie, you see the guy that's, just passed away. And then this time when I watched it, I noticed that he was in the coffin and he had like a banner. And it
The stained glass window.
and I was like,
Yeah.
Well-
really decked out Star Trek.
it's not just the fact that he's in a coffin. If you're really paying attention, he's in a torpedo. And that's how they I'm using air quotes bury Spock at the end of Star Trek 2.
Yes.
And the reason why they did that very specifically is because in Star Trek 3, Spock's body is dead, but his mind is still alive. And that's the same concept as that Holliday's body is dead, but his mind still exists in the Oasis. I thought that was actually a really cool kind of analogy.
It's really eloquent, I
Yeah.
think. And, and then the coins on his eyes was the year that he was born. So each coin had the year that he was born on it, and then they put it over his eyes. So that was really eloquent as well. And that it took 25 cents to play his favorite game in life.
I will have to admit that I think I failed as a father because I did let my oldest son, who's 11, watch this, except for the Shining part. I didn't let him watch the Shining part. But when we got to the scene there at the funeral, he said, "What do those A's stand for?" And I immediately hung my head and said, "We've got to watch Star Trek."
For shame.
Yeah.
That's okay. He's probably more into Star Wars, and I get that.
He is, yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, my 4-year-old nephew, we just went to his birthday party, and I had a Star Wars shirt on, and he pointed at Darth Vader. He goes, in his little 4-year-old voice, "Darth Vader, my favorite character," and I was just floored. I'm like, Darth Vader is kid.
I'm over in the corner going, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, my son was Darth Vader for Halloween when he was 5. So I was Han and my wife was Leia, and our then 1-year-old. We couldn't think of anything. Baby Yoda didn't exist yet, so we couldn't think of what to put her. So we went to Goodwill and we found this bright gold sweatshirt and sweatpants, and so I drew on her the shape. So she was C-3PO. So Sarah cared.
I thought you were going to say that you found a little white trash can and just carried her around in a trash can.
No.
A robe on her. She's a Jawa.
Yeah, that works too.
We could have. I mean, I guess I could have put her like in a white and orange shirt and pretended she was like BB-8 or something, but that would have been funny too. I did write, one of my notes was, why did she wear a helmet? Why does she need to wear a helmet? Other than to hide her identity for a couple minutes, I guess, to have a reveal. But it's a video game. She doesn't need to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
But if we think about it, if you've played a racing game, the riders on those games normally have a helmet.
Do they? Do people in Mario Kart
don't need them?
Yeah.
Well, the Mushroom Kingdom, they don't need helmets. I mean, they're just going to come right back because they got extra lives.
I don't know. I've not seen Akira, so I don't know if they wear helmets in that or not. I would assume that they do. But I mean, Leslie, you're from South Carolina. They don't wear helmets down there, so I mean,
No, not at all.
Not at all. And I think we just lost our South Carolina listeners.
It makes me think about Beach Week when I was 12. They had all the motorcycles down there at Myrtle Beach. That's when I learned the term "dirty Myrtle."
Sure, dirty Myrtle. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I went down there for senior week, and from there I decided never to go back.
to Myrtle, or just for senior week?
To Myrtle.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
It used to be different.
That's what I've heard.
I did write a note. One of my notes was, back when we weren't sick of T.J. Miller.
Yes.
Let's talk about IROC a little bit.
IROC.
He kind of reminded me of those World of Warcraft nerds, that when Warcraft first came out and they would all collect all this loot, you wouldn't see your friend for months because they played Warcraft nonstop. And his character reminded me of that, especially when he said, I have 10 years worth of stuff in this suit. Like, don't do that.
Well,
when he died, it was an absolute avalanche of loot that popped everywhere.
It was just like ongoing. It's just like cascades of stuff.
I think what brings that to reality is I think we've all had friends that literally have played games to the point that they've either flunked a class or gotten extremely sick from not eating or going to the bathroom.
Well, let's see. Without using names, I had a roommate who I won't say failed freshman year, but he left freshman year because of Unreal Tournament. We also have a good friend, a mutual friend of the three of us, who lost a really good relationship with a girl because of World of Warcraft. She was a lovely person, and he ignored her for too long, and eventually she broke up with him. But he World of Warcraft to him was a business. He would rank them up. Wow. He would rank them up and get all this loot, and then sell those characters to people for hundreds of dollars. It was a business.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
It's actually smart.
My sister has a friend who runs she used to run a WoW server. I think she had a few servers that she would run, and that's what she did 24/7. And I'm like, I feel like too much for me. That's why I refuse to play it, because I knew I could get sucked into it easily like that. So
I can't even play Mario that long.
Well, I remember GoldenEye. GoldenEye was my downfall in college.
Mario Kart 64.
Yeah. We all have our games. I mean, gosh, yeah. We played on the GameCube Brawl and our Melee. That was a game we played a lot. And
oh yeah.
Halo,
gosh, yeah, we did Halo. We rented out. Sam was I don't know if Sam, you put this together or not, but we rented out a couple of conference rooms at the student union and did Halo LAN parties and put them on the projector.
Oh.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
It was awesome.
I was there, but I did not.
I couldn't remember if you put that together or not. This is the first time that I noticed that his password was Bossman69. Because he says it out loud, B0SS. M. Like I didn't, but when I saw it this time for some reason, and my wife rolled her eyes, which was pretty funny. I was always kind of annoyed by the fake out part where he thinks he takes off his rig, but then it's like the real world. And I thought I didn't think the Oasis could look that real.
That real, yeah.
Well, and not only that, it was like the only way they knew everything about it was by Wade saying that he knew kind of everything. There's no way you can remember that much of the real world to fake him out. I'm sorry, that part did kind of annoy me back when I first watched it.
You have to have like a what's that?
Photographic memory.
Didn't he have like the memory? The photographic memory.
Eidetic memory, I think is the phrase. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. But I thought in the book it's explained that he just recorded it. He recorded the conversation.
Yeah.
So
and then look, but nothing like that in the movie. It was just he just remembered everything.
Said I remembered everything. And then I'm like, that's kind of far-fetched.
I always just assumed that's what he meant. I guess maybe there's a line there that he should have said. Do you? How much do you remember? I remember all of it because I recorded it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that would be fine.
Yeah,
but no, he just says, "What do you remember?" Kind of everything.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, it does.
One of that line as we were watching it.
It does kind of make it seem like he programmed the whole thing from memory, which is fine. Last few notes I wrote is why can you see her face when she's a Sixer? That was always a little. I mean, I know I know why, because we as the audience need to be able to know who she is, but
we need to emote.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have her face. But that's fine. Whatever.
No, because if she was in a Sixer rig, it would have made her entire
behind it.
Yeah,
kind of lacking.
Yeah. I know. Again, we need to know who she is. I get it, but it's still kind of a thing. Last few things was why are the nerds shaming the redheaded girl? I didn't like that either. That kind of felt uncool in 2018.
Too close to home.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, since I got the four of you, nerd shaming me earlier today. It just seemed mean, like they were just being mean to her. Obviously, it's not adventure, even though this guy made it an hour into the game and none of the other people made it a minute. So clearly you're wrong, girl. Go play with your Barbie dolls and make me a sandwich. Like that's what it came across as.
Yeah.
That's just what it came across as.
Why? Would I say something like that?
Yes.
No.
He told me to get into the kitchen and make him a sandwich.
Yeah, and then I immediately got punched in the arm. I'm kidding.
Yeah. You only ever say that as a joke, knowing that you're going to get physically hit afterwards. But
yeah.
Or I would say it and just take off running upstairs.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not scared of you. And then he takes off running.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Or I say it on the phone.
That's right. I'm the man of the house when you're not around.
Exactly.
There's a song to that effect.
There is, yeah. I wear the pants of the family when I wash them.
Yep, that's how the song goes.
That's kind of it. That's all my notes. You guys have any other notes you want to hit before I do clips?
Yeah, like he uses, for example, he uses like the holy hand grenade of Antioch. Anybody that loves Monty Python knows what the holy hand grenade is, but he does not count to 3 before he throws it.
Nope.
Yeah, see, they missed an opportunity there for sure.
I think so. What I found fascinating is that so you've got this orb of Ostovox that they use,
Or as TJ Miller says, the orb of Ostovox.
and there's 2 issues about the orb. So one of the issues is that when she's in Nolan's rig, she finds a receipt for the orb. Well, he never bought the orb. He got it from IROC. So, it's a blatant error. So when you see that, you're like, no, that didn't happen because, we just watched him obtain the orb from IROC. And then the second thing is that the spell, and I never knew this, but the spell that they utilized to
Turn it on and
turn it off is used in the movie Excalibur.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing for Excalibur. And I haven't seen that movie in decades. Now I need to go back and watch it. I love that movie.
Right.
I think you just dated yourself.
Be quiet. Didn't ask you. A lady never tells her age.
We watched that in senior English class, and I immediately fell in love with Carmina Burana, not knowing what it was. And then I felt like an idiot going to ask our band director what that song was, and he said, "Really, you don't know what this is?"
You're like, yes, I know. I just wanted to see if you knew.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, was she a foreign exchange student in your class? But I guess the joke doesn't quite work. Yeah, the orb is kind of a thing. I don't know. Yeah, I had never thought about that, but you're right. He doesn't actually purchase it. But maybe she just Googled it. Maybe she finds the artifact and she's just doing a Google search.
It's like a blatant.
Here's an artifact. This is how you control it. Like anyone could find the instructions on how to Google it. You know what I'm saying?
Level 99 artifact, highly unlikely.
I know.
Gosh,
he's reaching.
I don't want to just be like the guy that's poo-pooing the whole movie the whole time. There's some stuff that I do like about the movie, and it's a lot of fun. I don't like. There's some things that they changed I don't care about because they needed to. Like the Iron Giant's not in it in the book, but they couldn't get the rights to the one that was in the book, and frankly, most American audiences don't know who Ultraman is. So it made sense that it was the Iron Giant. The only part that did kind of annoy me was that H was driving the Iron Giant like that was her avatar, and I thought, okay, why can't the Iron Giant just be like a robot that she controls, but as her normal self? Like it's you know what I'm saying? I thought that was a little whatever, but
like Sprinto with Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, exactly. Either she's in like a pilot seat, or he's just there with her, and he just follows her like the Iron Giant does to the boy in the movie. So
I think there's a lot of I won't say a lot, but there's a few surprises that I really enjoyed, like the fact that we find out H is a woman. And then we find out also that Sho is a little kid.
Yeah.
Right? And when he says, ninjas don't hug.
Ninjas don't hug. That's kind of neat.
Really made me laugh.
Yeah. Well, the one thing the movie...
That's a very little kid line.
Ninjas don't hug.
Yeah.
Very little kid line.
The movie also is lighter in tone overall, because Daito dies in the book. He is murdered. Mm-hmm. He is literally murdered in real life. The IOI people find him and murder him, and there's life.
Well, could it be? I mean, maybe that's again. We talk about stakes, and we talk about something being on the line. Did it ever feel like there was anything on the line in the movie?
No, but
or was the plot armor so thick that they were going to get out of anything they got into?
Yes, but this isn't the kind of movie where we need Wash to die. So shit. Sorry, spoilers. But you know what I'm saying? Like this isn't that
Why
kind
do
of.
you have to bring up? Why?
I know.
Don't bring it up to Wash dies.
Yeah.
The saddest thing in Serenity, and you had to bring it up.
I know.
Yes.
But you know, I don't think, especially knowing that these are all basically kids, right? I don't think we need to Hunger Games this thing too much.
You think the actor was? You think the actor playing Wade was too old?
No, I didn't have a problem with him. I thought he was fine. I thought the girl was fine. I thought the acting I thought was fine. I had no problem with any of the casting at all. I think Ben Mendelsohn is great as a bad guy, and he needs to be the bad guy in everything.
You are now just bad guy for everything.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, you know, for like the early 90s, or for all through the 90s, Gary Oldman was a bad guy until they cast him in Harry Potter, which is why they cast him in Harry Potter, because in the third movie, it's a fake out that he's the bad guy. You think he's the bad guy, which is why they cast him. And all of a sudden, he's not. And so that's kind of cool. He can be someone not the bad guy. So if Ben Mendelsohn is in your movie, you know he's going to kill somebody. You just know he is.
Well, not in Captain Marvel.
That's true. And again, I think that's why they cast him in that. I think that's a fake out. I think they cast him in that.
But they also had him in green face. I mean, he was
that's
like
true.
You couldn't tell really that was him.
Yeah. Well, he was in
all
his.
the makeup.
He was in regular face. He was because he appears as Fury's boss, and we see him
Yes, he
regular.
does.
And then you get like little flash of green or whatever to like let the audience know that he is a Skrull.
Skrull
the Warrior King.
Yeah, there we go.
With the glaive, which was cool. That was a neat little reference.
No, but back to what you were saying about the death. I think that as American people, and they've talked about this psychologically, that we're prone to love children, and we want to protect children. It was even seen during the Vietnam War how we were so trusting, where they would strap bombs to the kids, and they would walk out to the Americans and kill people in essence. And I think that any time that you see a death of a child on screen is really scarring to most American people. And I feel like maybe it would have been a conscious choice to keep the movie lighthearted and not put that in there to have a broader audience.
That was dark.
Well, that's the truth.
No, and you're probably right. I'm just saying, I think, again, if you want to tell a better story, you've got to make the stakes feel real. And the book does that. And the movie doesn't.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, but again, Andrew's 11-year-old son's not reading that book, but he is watching the movie, apparently.
Right. The movie.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, making money. And so what they do is they throw all these, pop culture references, at the movie to keep it moving. Now, I felt like the pacing of the movie was fantastic. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem sluggish in parts. It moved right along like it was supposed to. The action scenes were full of action. But what I thought was sad was that the character development seemed kind of flat in instances where I would like to have seen a character arc. That there were none.
Yep.
Sorrento, there was nothing. Granted, he was a bad guy, but you didn't see development there.
Yeah, give us some depth to his reasoning behind what he's doing.
I don't know. I personally don't care if the bad guy's two-dimensional. I really don't. Using a phrase two-dimensional in a 3D environment. I don't care about that, honestly. The only two people I care about for development is Artemis and Parzival. Because at the beginning of the movie, Parzival's like, if I win, I'm going to buy some cool shit. Now, he says that, and because his life sucks. His life is garbage, and he wants to get out of that life. And you can relate to that. But then when he gets kidnapped and kind of forced into the quote-unquote cause, I'm kind of with you a little bit, saying that there's not development. He was developed. He was forced to make a choice by Weird Tattoo Face Man. So, who looked into the camera. I didn't like that. He looked straight into the camera. It was so uncomfortable. I was literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was uncomfortable. He's he's chloroforming the hero of the movie and staring into the camera. It was really uncomfortable, but maybe it was supposed to.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it was supposed to. I don't know. I don't like it. I really don't. He was peering into my soul with that tattoo on his face. Jeez. And this movie once again proves also that tattoos on your face is a bad idea because that's how they found you. So just forget.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks to the bad tattoo guy, they lost the rebellion.
Exactly.
Good job, tattoo.
Forget getting a vaccine and having a tracker in the vaccine. It trackers your face tattoos. Just don't get a face tattoo.
Exactly.
That's all we're saying.
Yeah. See, if he didn't have that, they would be all right.
They would be all right.
Tattoo the makeup on their face.
Oh, God.
Say that again. I'm sorry. The internet pooped out on you.
What about those ladies that tattoo the makeups on their face? You know, like their tattooed eyebrows, the eyeliner.
Well, when we were talking pre-show about where we were from and when I was working on the TV show in Charleston, we had a girl on. She was we call a featured extra. She had no lines, but she was on more than just an extra, and she interacted with the main actors. And she was a model. That was her job, her profession. And she had tattooed the liner around her lips, so that when she put lipstick on, it would really kind of pop. That she had that tattooed on her lips.
Just make sure she can color in the lines, I guess.
Pretty much.
Using the right color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot tell the story of how they got her on the show on this podcast, but I will.
When you stop recording.
Yeah, when we stop recording, I'll tell you if you want to hear it, and if anyone's listening wants to hear it, I'll DM you. But I'm not putting that out onto the ether and how they. I shouldn't have even teased it. I apologize. I'm going to play some clips. How's that? Does that sound fun? Yes, it does. All right, let's do this.
Some long-forgotten gunter cracked the first clue and found the first challenge. Then, this portal appeared. But the challenge to win the first key was a race designed by Halliday that was so hard no one had ever finished it.
Yeah, see, it's just kind of annoying. But that's okay. That's fine. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Yes, 80% of the field. I forgot what this meant. 80%. Oh, yeah, 80%. Yeah, so this clip basically reminds me of, like, Facebook, right? So this is basically Mark Zuckerberg talking to his staff.
We estimate we can sell up to 80% of an individual's visual field before inducing seizures. So picture this.
There you go.
Yep.
Before
seizures.
Yeah. That was the best thing because I remember hearing that in theaters. I'm like, wait, what? Did he just say
inducing seizures?
Okay.
I like how the line is before, right? Like,
yeah.
And again, it's just the movie showing us that not only is he a bad guy and he's willing to kill you to get the thing, but he's also willing to injure his customers. It's just
induce seizures.
And this is a disturbing thing. So for them to get that statistic, they had to test it.
Yeah.
So I cannot imagine the test audience.
Well,
for that statistic.
It was probably those people in those loyalty centers, right? It would have to be, right?
Yep.
This is the only line that I got of T.J. Miller. I didn't want a whole bunch of him because I'm kind of tired of him, but this line did kind of make me laugh.
That's what I like about you, Nolan. You never lick. You bite straight to the chocolatey center of the Tootsie Pop. Remember that old commercial with the owl? I rock.
It kind of made me laugh. The other part where T.J. Miller was a little close to being inappropriate is he said, "I'm all over it like hose on Santa."
Yeah.
Because
lucky my 11-year-old didn't get that.
Yeah.
The part that he said he hated three things, and then he talked about the steampunk pirates.
I do. There's three things I hate in this world: steampunk, pirates, and tabbouleh. I mean, come on, what is that stuff? It is a funny line.
TJ Miller's actually funny.
But I never realized his name was I Rock, as in I am cool. I rock.
Yeah.
I never put two and two together until I watched it this time, and I looked at Chris. I'm like, really? Why didn't I get this? I Rock.
because I rock. It's like,
I think we've all seen gamer tags of people that were like, really, that's your name?
Yeah. Yeah, the Andrew and Sam and I, we play video games 3 times a week, and every night we'll get killed by somebody and go, really? Your name is Fart Castle? Okay. That's your gamer tag? Okay. So, I don't know.
I work with a guy. His name is Kyle Bland, and his tag is that Bland guy. I'm like, really, dude?
Yeah, he popped on our switch as that Bland guy. I'm like, who is that?
That's actually not bad. I kind of like that. I don't know. That's not bad. I mean,
that Bland guy.
That's actually funny. I mean, there's a little bit of cleverness to it, even it's part of his name. But I mean, the stuff we see is, it's just downright gross. We've seen some that are I made that up, but there are some that are actually offensive enough that we've reported them because it's like, really, that's your name, So anyway, time for so. I teased earlier in I think, Kristen, your middle name about the music. I could not tell you, I could not hum for you one bar of music from this movie. I can't. But I know this part.
I just bought this.
Yes. So Chris and I, we went back and we listened to the score. That's what we do. And we do with our podcast. We made some notes. And Chris made some notes about the score to discuss with y'all.
Yep.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, normally it's John Williams who does all of Spielberg's movies except for like The Color Purple, Bridge of Spies, and John Williams was supposed to come on for this one, but he was busy with another Spielberg movie, The Post, and he had a bunch of, because John Williams is like basically semi-retired, and they both sat down and said Alan Silvestri would be a better choice for this movie because Silvestri did Back to the Future. So for that scene in particular, Spielberg went to Silvestri and said, I want something, like Back to the Future. And Silvestri said, oh, okay, so you want something like he's no. I want the exact cue. When you see the DeLorean Back to the Future, I want that exact cue right in there. Silvestri's like, oh, okay. I thought that was great. Because
then you had a nerdy moment when you heard that. You're like, I know that.
Absolutely.
And it's such a small part. It's like 3 notes from the horn, and then it's the little piano jingle that you get, and it's just enough that if you know what that is, then you're good.
Yeah, I actually have that little tinkle, as that's what it's called, or I think that's what it's called, as my text tone when someone texts me.
Oh, that's
nice.
awesome! That's so awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, Chris and I, our second episode, we covered Back to the Future and covered that score. And, I was afraid, if you've listened to the episode, you know that Chris makes fun of me because I can quote every single line in that movie. And he gets so frustrated with me. And it just happens automatically. I don't even think about it. It starts coming out.
Look.
Coming out of my mouth. And I was so afraid because when we listen to the score and then watch the movie from the score's perspective, our opinions about the movie changes. It could be one of our favorite movies, and then when we start listening to it this way, we're like, yeah, that wasn't so good. It's not hold up over the time.
Well, and with Silvestri coming on board as the composer, you would think there would be a more prominent theme throughout the entire thing. But to me, just going back and listening to it, it sounds just like he just remixed Back to the Future over and over and over.
There's into some of that. Go ahead.
Yeah, the other big part is that there's so much licensed music in the movie. You're getting Joan Jett, you're getting Van Halen, and
there's some nostalgia in audio nostalgia that goes along with the visual.
Exactly. Yeah. The Shining. Here we go.
I've never seen The Shining. Is it really scary?
And I wanted to say, no, it's not. But I mean, he asked the 11-year-old who says, I had to watch it through my fingers. I'm like, well, he's 11. Yeah, it's going to be a little scary because dad's trying to kill you. Like, that's kind of scary to an 11-year-old. But but then when dad gets bested by the 11-year-old, you're like, well, dad kind of sucked. So.
Well, he was crazy by that point.
I know he was crazy.
Finger kid kills you.
Yeah.
What's his buddy's name?
Oh, it was God.
I
can't remember the name of it. Danny's buddy.
We just
talked to his finger.
We just watched it last year. I don't remember. Apparently, they were practicing social distancing in 2018. Here's a line that we have heard many times in the last year.
Lay those charges every 6 feet.
Yeah, gotta stay 6 feet apart.
Tony is the name of the finger.
There we go.
Tony.
Tony.
The last clip I had to get this one because, well, I had to.
King Chucky.
There you go.
They weaponized him.
It really did.
Weaponized him.
Weaponized.
The weapon of mass destruction.
Oh wow!
I also like when
funny.
It is kind of, like if H says here and like doesn't give him any kind of warning, and so he's like having to fight with it while driving, and then Artemis punches it in the face. And then she's like, throw it out there. And so he throws it. And then, of course, that guy then screams,
King Chucky.
There you go.
Then you see like a whole red circle light up where all these people are dying in the Iowa arena.
That was a cool way to kind of show you what was happening in real life. Like she uses that blaster to takes out a bunch, or I thought that was actually kind of cool seeing like all of the suits go red. And then when they had the cataclysm effect happen, the entire place goes red. I thought that was kind of neat.
I was hoping you would grab the clip of Parzival and H in their conversation about room 237. We ain't got any business going in room 237.
Yeah, that is a good line. You're not wrong. I will
There's
say.
An Easter egg.
Oh, there's an Easter egg?
Yeah, so room 237, is the movie in the show. Well, when he got the cue from, where he went to the library and they were playing back the scene to try to figure out what was going on. If you looked at Halliday's computer, it was the schematic for room 237.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
You are literally reading trivia off my my script, by the way. I just want to let you know.
Oh, really?
You've read half of my trivia, which is great.
I did my research.
Yeah.
You won't let me read your script anymore.
You have access to it. You're the one that kept changing my script.
Well, in all fairness, it just got the word Jurassic Park thrown in there a few times.
Yeah.
It's the only change you made.
All right. That was it. Time for this.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Well, the advantage of having Leslie read most of the trivia is that I don't have to read it all now. So let's see. You've already said that one, and you said that one. So I'll say this one. Besides the obvious Bigfoot, DeLorean, and Akira vehicles, other notables in the race were the Mach 5, Batmobile, A-Team van, the V8 Interceptor, Christine, the Pork Chop Express from Big Trouble in Little China, and the Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit, and the RV from Spaceballs.
Yeah, I have that written down too.
Did you notice that the DeLorean, and I just noticed it this last time I watched it, that the DeLorean had the lights from KITT, from Knight Rider? Yep. I didn't catch that until this one.
I don't know how I feel about that. Are you allowed to do that?
I wish they would have put KITT in there because KITT was such an amazing car anyway.
Exactly.
I wish they would have combined the two. But I noticed this go around that the DeLorean had, instead of out of time, if you ever watched the movie, it says out of time on the license plate. This time it said Percival.
Well, it's his name. It's Parzival. He's
Parzival. Excuse me, not Percival.
Yeah, it's
Percival.
Oh, Sam, stop messing with my script. I see you in there. I'll change the password again.
You shouldn't have reminded him that he had access.
Yeah, you always have access. Let's see. The spaceship that Daito, it's his name, Daito, flies in the last battle, of course, is from Serenity, a Firefly-class freighter from the beloved short-lived TV show Firefly and its film Serenity. Period. I'm not gonna read that, Sam. This was kind of a neat little bit of trivia. The high five is what the five that are on the high score. It's what they're referred to. When they hack into Sorrento's immersion pod at the OASIS place, when they look like they're real people, their eyes give an amber glow. This is a reference to a lighting effect used to differentiate. Why can't I say that word? To make different, so you can tell that they're different. Gracious. Between humans and the replicants in Blade Runner. Gosh, why can't I say that word? Oh, so Andrew can't say procreate, and I can't say differentiate. Jeez.
Gosh. I noticed that in the scene in which, what's his face? Comes out of his little Darth Vader ball, and they're standing there. He thinks he's in real time, and he's not. And the fellow standing there, and he's got amber-looking eyes. I noticed that, and I'm like, "What is that?" Too. I couldn't place it, but now that
was
you say
driving
that,
me nuts.
Yeah, I noticed it this last time we watched the movie. My words are not here tonight. I'm sorry.
No,
that's for everybody.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all the trivia I had. Again, you read half of it, so that's great.
I have extra trivia.
You have extra trivia?
Get going.
Well, there is actually, I have, I think, one extra thing, and that is the belt that Parsifal is wearing is the same style of Han Solo's belt.
Sure.
If you hadn't noticed, he's got a Thundercat emblem on it. I'm sorry, Chris.
I keep having to jump.
He's got a Thundercat emblem on it, but the style is Han Solo.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of those little moments in there, like little trivias throughout. And again, there was so much trivia in IMDb, I just didn't have time or the energy or desire to read all of it. So
I got bored, I did.
Yeah, I picked out what I thought was mildly interesting. For what it's worth, also, Sam, you mentioned you put Spielberg's name on this, and it's a $1 billion project. This movie made. This was a $175 million movie to make, and it made worldwide almost $600 million. So $600 million is something to laugh at, but it's it's a lot, but it feels like it could have been more. Like it should have been more for what I felt like the hype was for this movie. But then again, I had never heard of Ready Player One until Sam was like, you have to watch this. There's a movie coming out. You need to read the book. So Sam forced me to read the book, which I'm pretty sure his controller died. That's why he's not saying things right now. So I'm going to do this, and we'll wait for him to catch back up.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
All right, time for top three. This movie gives us a kind of an 80s nostalgia kind of feel to it, and that's what we did. We've done movies that are set in the 80s, and I think we've even done movies that feel like the 80s, like the movie just feels like it's the 80s. This one is just straight up 80s nostalgia. Movies that you watch that just kind of, give you that nostalgia feeling for the 80s, if that makes sense. Sam, since you're back, I'll let you go first.
Sure. I've got my number 3. I'm going to put Princess Bride on there.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Brings me back to childhood. My number 2 will be Never Ending Story.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
Right? And my number 1 would be the later 2 Star Wars movies that came out.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay. Leslie, if you have them.
Let's pull them out of my mind here.
That's fine.
Number 3 for me would be Flight of the Navigator.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
We used to watch
on the Disney Channel all the time.
We used to watch that all of the time. I love that movie.
His brother calling him home with the fireworks on the roof. And
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was Paul Rubens that talked as the alien.
That's the worst kept secret in Hollywood. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So number 2 would be the Goonies for me.
Yeah.
That's very nostalgic.
Did you save some for me? I mean,
I'm sorry, Chris.
Just say ditto.
You watched
That's all
more movies than I did. And I think my number 1 movie, which not everybody agrees with, is Clash of the Titans.
Oh yeah, it's Harryhausen.
Yep.
Let me guess. You can text him too, right?
Burgess Meredith was in that movie.
I'm not going to live that one down, am I?
Him also.
Jeez.
But yes, I love Clash of the Titans, and it's very nostalgic for me. I used to watch that just all the time. I love claymation.
Yeah, that stop motion stuff was great. He helped out his buddy Harryhausen, helped out his buddy Sam Raimi, and in the Army of Darkness, the third movie in the Evil Dead trilogy.
I didn't know that was Harryhausen that did that.
I thought it was. I thought he. God, Sam, what are you doing? Get out of my script! You're killing me. Jeez. Just don't delete it. Just don't delete anything.
I'm not deleting anything.
I'm
helping add to the conversation.
It's just adding random pictures. This is driving me crazy. I'm gonna have to change the password again. I thought I could be way wrong. I thought I read that, or maybe I thought I watched the director's commentary for that movie because I love that movie. I don't know. Anyway, I could be way wrong. If someone's listening and knows better, feel free to correct me. Chris?
Okay. My number 3 would be Critters. I gotta go with Critters.
I've never seen it, that movie.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
It was a fun movie. I liked it. Number 2 has got to be Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going with I got to go with the first one for the 80s nostalgia. Just because, I mean, it screams everything. I mean, it's an 80s kid that goes back in time. So,
and don't we all still want his truck?
Yes.
Right?
It's a Toyota. We talked about this.
Oh yeah, that Toyota was so cool.
That's the reason I own a charcoal gray Toyota.
One of the reasons why I bought a Tacoma also. I mean, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
See, I have a Camry, so I don't have a truck. But it's still a Toyota.
And then the first one I was going to go with would be the Goonies, but she took it. So
yeah. Everybody likes Goonies.
Yeah, exactly. Goonies never die.
That's right.
Goonies never die.
All right, I'll go next because Andrew always has way better lists than us. So I've been altering my list as you guys go, so I'm not sharing some of the same ones.
Great.
It's an advantage of going next to last. My number 3 is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I love that movie, and also partially filmed in North Carolina. I always have to say that whenever I get a North Carolina reference. Let's see. Number 2 is Top Gun. Surprised no one said Top Gun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I almost said Top Gun.
Yeah, and then my number 1. I love this movie unabashedly, and if we ever review it for the podcast, it's going to get like a 9.9 out of 10 for me because I don't care. And that's The Last Starfighter.
Oh, yeah, that one was pretty good.
I love that movie so much. And
I was going to say Iron Eagle.
Well, yeah, no. Iron Eagle would be great for this podcast, honestly. That'd be a lot of fun. The Top Gun ripoff, but yeah. What you got, Andrew?
Well, before I go, I just want to tell you, if you get a chance, go to the IMDb page for this, and I always like to look at the photos of the film. And if you start at about 122, there are alternate versions of the film poster, and it's all these nostalgic 80s movie posters that have integrated Parsifal into them in some form or fashion.
Oh, cool.
So 122 starts with the Iron Giant. And then you go through, you've got the Goonies and the Matrix and Back to the Future and Teen Wolf and, Breakfast Club, Beetlejuice, all these different things. It's pretty cool. So go check that out on your own time. So my...
this is our time right now. You can do it on your own time.
No. This is not our time. So I didn't understand the assignment, so I did a slightly different variation of my top 3 tonight. And what I did is I chose movies that are present-day films that have 80s nostalgia to them. So I have an honorable mention of Stranger Things because it's not a movie, but it certainly makes you think of the 80s. Number 3, I have The Wedding Singer. Number 2, I have The Wolf of Wall Street. And then at number 1, I have Hot Tub Time Machine.
There you go. Hey, that's cool. You probably did. Yeah. You're probably more true to the intent of the top 3 category that I came up with than or no, you came up with this one. Awesome. Okay, well, as Sam continues to distract me, I'm going to play this.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
This is the part where we're going to give the score out of Tim, and Sam sucks. You better type it. You better keep typing. Come on, where is it typing? He's writing down in my script everything that I'm saying. So, but for some reason he stopped it. Oh, there it is. Sam, apparently he wrote Sam Stucks instead of Sam Sucks. This is amazing. He has time to do this. Great. Yeah. Andrew, you go first out of 10.
The IMDb group, whoever those people are, gives this, I think it was a 7.4. I don't remember exactly what it was. Somewhere in there. I'm going to give this a 9.6.
Wow. Jeez.
Out of 10.
Gosh, 9.6. I got to scroll a long way before I get back to a 9 for you. 9.2 was Knives Out was the last time you gave something a 9.
Yeah.
That was a good.
That was last.
And as good as Knives Out was
last July.
I want to watch this one before I watch that one again.
Oh.
I'm still looking at pictures. I didn't even see this. There's He-Man. There's a Gremlin.
Still looking at the pictures.
Well,
right?
He-Man
I mean, I gotta go watch this again.
Well, I mean, even even the box that the Orb of Asurvox or whatever it is came in. That's the box that the Gremlin came in. Yeah, Gizmo.
Right.
Came in. Yeah.
Gizmo.
So, because my spreadsheet only has space for one guest, so you guys are going to have to give me a score that I'm going to combine to put in this space. So,
Take the average of.
So should we confer away from the microphone?
No, just tell me whatever your score is, and I'll just average it.
I personally would give it a 7.
Okay.
I would give it 8.5.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going with an 8.5.
Okay.
Well, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That gives it a 7.75, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, that'll work.
7 3/4.
Yeah. Sam.
All right.
Are you still typing?
Just because it's Spielberg, it's already way up there on my list. I do think there's some problems. Again, it's a little ADHD for my liking, but it does have that replayability, which is something fun to always check out. So I'm going to give it a good 7.18 out of 10.
Okay.
Decent movie. Yeah. I won't search it out, but decent.
Your number.
We have to do decimal points because after 340 movies, if we keep it at even numbers, we're going to have a whole lot of movies with the same number. So that way, we can kind of differentiate between, well, this movie right now is parked at 8.17, which is just a little bit better than our episode of Willow, which is at a 8.12. So we
see that.
We have to do that. But I didn't like this movie more than Willow, so I'm going to purposely sabotage it so that the number is a little bit lower than Willow.
Jerk.
No, this is a fine movie. I like it. Here's the interesting thing: not one of us. I think this is a credit to Spielberg and the movie itself. Not one of us complained that it was almost a 2.5 hour long movie.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it.
It didn't feel like 2.5 hours.
Never felt like.
No.
Yeah, it was.
I think it goes back to the action sequences. It just kept the pacing.
Yeah,
it just moved along nicely.
Yeah, because I was we've made a decision. I think that for our episode 350, we're going to do Army of the Dead, and I was warned that it's a really long movie. And when I looked it up, it's 220. It's the same length as this movie. But I've been told that it feels way longer.
It feels like a 2. Yeah, it feels like a 2.
Oh, you've already seen it.
Oh. Yeah, I've already seen it.
Okay.
I've already seen it too.
I obviously haven't. Anyway, I haven't given this movie a score yet. I like this movie. I think it's fine, and I'm just going to give it a 7. I think it's fine. I think it's not great. It's not bad. There's some things that I would have liked to have changed. Honestly, my biggest issue really is the first key. Is find a way to make the first key exciting yet accessible for everyone. Or I don't know, maybe you still do the race, but it's not part of the key. Maybe he has to do the race to get enough credits to do. I don't know. There's a way to do it. I don't know what it is. Obviously, I'm not smart enough like Spielberg. But anyway, I did miss an opportunity here. I'm doing this real quick because we're getting a little late here, and that is we did have some people on the Twitter offer up their kind of nostalgia movies. Sudden but Inevitable says Bloodsport and Highlander.
Ooh, those are good.
Let's see.
I love Highlander.
Rosie, who's also a big fan of the of the Sudden but Inevitable show. She just tagged me with The Karate Kid, Goonies, Good Morning Vietnam, Dead Poets Society, Uncle Buck, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Ghostbusters, everything by John Hughes. And then she literally sent me a list of the 25 greatest movies of the 80s. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yes. Thank you, Rosie, for that. That's great. You can follow her at Rosalita.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, at Rosalita9899 on Twitter. Go do that. Let's see. Sudden also did. Oh, he said, Highlander. He said that one. Let's see. Maxton, good a friend of us and of the show. Maxton says Airplane and Blues Brothers. Self Shoots from the Hip podcast says The Last Dragon, Predator, Aliens, and the Terminator.
Last Dragon.
That's right. Oh, I have that handy. That's it. That's all that for that. The last little thing that I do is what? I do the quote game. The quote game is simply E.T. Phone Home. This is a game where we let the listeners hear a quote.
You're not allowed to say the name of the movie in the quote.
Well, I'm just reading I just read the quote from the big poster that I have. Okay, I can't.
They're breaking their own rules.
It's the poster's fault. I'm just going to blame the poster. It's the poster's fault. Next week, what are we doing? We are doing something very unique. Next week, we're going to be joined by guest Stephen Honeycutt, and we're doing something called Thunder Road. He picked it. Once again, this is the guy that brought you The Fuzz and other weird movies. Velocipaster.
Velocipaster.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I think I know Thunder Road. I think I know that. I'll have to watch it again to make sure I know it, but I'm pretty sure I do.
It's on Amazon Prime, so that's what we're doing next week.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Chris, Leslie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please tell people how they can find you.
You can find us on pretty much any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple. Just type in Measuring the Score. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Twitter, we're at Measure the Score. You can send us an email, measuringthescore@gmail.com. YouTube, pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts, that's where you can find us. And social media, too. Just type in Measuring the Score podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Give them a listen. I've listened to all of their episodes. They are all very entertaining, and we should all patronize them and then give them money so that he can pay the exorbitant amount of fees that has to send to ASCAP so that we can listen to actual clips from the movie. I think that's a really good idea, personally.
They don't have to sing in his beautiful singing voice.
Yes, well, because I'm pretty sure my listeners are not liking it too much.
Or you can just do like we do and play clips anyway and just hope you don't get sued. So there's that. And also, something he didn't say, and I'll tease it, I'm going to be on an episode of theirs in season 2, I think, right?
Yes.
That's the thing?
Yes, you'll be joining us for the Sherlock Holmes episode.
I'm so excited.
So sorry.
Sherlock Holmes. What are you sorry for? What do you apologize for?
Oh, well, I just want to make sure that they know that we are with them and we understand their pain.
Okay, that's fine.
We're excited to have him on.
It's going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, what you can do if you're listening to our show, if you're listening to our show regularly, you know how to find our information. If you are listening from Measuring the Score podcast, please feel free to go to cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. There it has all of the links to all of our social media stuff. It's got all of the 300 plus other episodes we have. Go back and listen to some other ones. Go find the one where somebody on the cast falls asleep, and it's not always Andrew. There is an episode where Chad falls asleep, so you got to go a long way back.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you don't know who Chad is, go back and listen to the first 100 episodes. There you will meet Chad. In the meantime, apparently we have a new Twitter handle that I need to pimp out here. So at CheapSeatCast is our Twitter handle. And at Jurassic Park is awesome apparently is a new Twitter handle that I'm supposed to say as well. That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that was a thing, but that's fine. And
He's crying.
Oh no, this is great. The only way I could make it I need to end the show, and I'm going to end the show. But like, if I started going back and rereading the stuff Sam has typed, then he would have to like retype everything again.
I just copy paste.
Copy paste, but I would change it just enough that would allow you to work through that. All right, no one else is listening to this show anymore. They've all given up. That's the show. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for Thunder Road.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.